recherche, les découvertes, l'aventure, la fantasia.
Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning or hello everybody. I'm very happy today to host Professor Katalin Kariko, eminent scientist, Nobel Laureate. She will give us her point of view on several things related to this particular field, science and philosophy. So first, hello, Katalin. Thank you
Hello.
very much for accepting our invitation and being with us. I will start immediately. So after all these years, working on the bench, on the computer, shifting from academia to industry and beyond, working in Europe and working in America. So two point of view, maybe different point of view, different way to deal with things. Let me ask you this fundamental question. Is being a scientist the source of happiness?
Of course. Yes, it is so much fun to be a scientist. And doesn't matter which corner of the world you are, if there is a laboratory, there are fellow scientists, you can talk to them, you have a family already. And I never been homesick. As long as there was a laboratory, I was at home.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So then it's source of happiness. So continue happiness. There is no the yin and the yang, the yo-yo, as we said in French, because yeah, definitely.
I have to say that because at age 16, I read a book by Hans Scheyer. It's about how to handle stress.
Okay.
And I learned at age 16, and it may help me so much. I wouldn't talk to you today. I wouldn't have, here is a Nobel Prize. I wouldn't have it if I don't read that book and don't learn an early age that, how to handle stress when, human interaction. And then I practice from long years.
Okay, wonderful. So science is a source of happiness. So then, if we are happy being a scientist, we work in a different field as a scientist. So there is a mathematician, physicist, biologist. I work myself on cancer and chromosomal instability, all this stuff. So behind the practical stuff, is it useful being scientist? Is it useful for us as a scientist? I mean, for a human being, is it useful for the society? We have to deal with term of useful in a very large way. So is it useful being scientist?
In my case, in day one, my supervisor came from the industry, and it was the focus that what we are doing has to be useful for something. And so at the beginning, I was developing antiviral compounds. I was screening, and it was always in my mind that, how could it be useful for, when I discovered something. So in my case, it was always there. This question is how it can be, what kind of disease I can find that little RNA is sufficient to treat, and try to find the disease. Yeah. So it is in my case, but you have to understand that discovering basic knowledge is advancing science, in the application field. Yeah, in application.
I will jump on this keyword you said right now. So basic science. Also, we call it here in European way fundamental science. So we hear more and more nowadays that fundamental science is less sexy, if I would say. It's not really relevant. We need to go directly to the practical way. We need to go directly to the... So it's still, in a French word, perte de vitesse. So people are not anymore enthusiastic by fundamental science. So do you have any answers to this?
Listen, if you don't understand the principle of some disease, and we don't have treatment because we do not understand, certain things. And that was with immunology. If we don't understand that how the immune system works, you cannot come up with any kind of therapy. So you have to understand things and you have to investigate how our immune system works, how certain disease is caused by certain factors. So you have to have the basic knowledge. I always go back to read textbooks and other things. And then I am so grateful to all of those people. Oh my God, they discovered, they already in the 70s. Oh, they thought about that. I was reading books and articles in the 50s. They already had ideas about the immunology, but you know, the tools were not there, which is here today. But yes, it's very important.
Okay, fundamental science is the key there. And again, another key word you say. That actually, I prepared three questions, but discussion is very open. So about the multidisciplinarity and the collaboration, how important is in our field and science in general?
Um, some discoveries, invention is coming, you know, there are a big team collaborating with others because they are expert on other fields. Innovation can come that you just have one colleagues who are in a different field. Like I always work in Hungary, my colleagues were organic chemists. So we communicate what I can do, what they can do, and how we can advance together. Then in the US, I was working with one other scientist who was actually is a physician, went to see the patient and telling me what kind of problems there is. So you have to constantly learn what other colleagues are doing on the field and see that how you can apply and educate them, respect each other, and that's critical, and then you can advance. And collaborating is always about trust. I am a very trusty person. I will trust all of these colleagues that when we work together and respect, and that's very critical.
Well, again, maybe the same question, but in another way. So you talked about chemistry, organic chemistry, etc. But les sciences humaines, so you know, philosophy, literature, etc. Is it very important to? I mean, like biologist or physician or chemistry to also open our eyes to this kind of discipline? Is it important to us to deal with the philosopher and with men of literature, etc.? Is it important?
I say it was important for me. I mentioned this book which I read, and it was about the Stoic philosophy, that I have to focus on things which I can change, and then do not waste my time on things I cannot, and always focus what I can do, not what you or my superiors or all of the other people should do, because it drives you crazy. And so you have to focus on things. So this is the philosophy which, you know, I followed, and according to that, I did my research and my life. And it was important for me, you know, to understand the medical problems my colleagues are facing, you know, when they have a patient and they have to make a decision right there. You know, they have a protocol to follow. They just cannot say, well, this is that, you know, they cannot do that. And I have had to understand all of these things, and the organic chemistry, everything about the nucleic acid, how we synthesize, the biology, you know, how RNA is made from, where the building blocks are coming, which cells is making, are we eating that, or what? You know, every little thing is important.
True. Okay, so then third question regarding to the question I prepared. So you showed me a wonderful Goldie medal. Congratulations again. Congratulations. So being a Nobel laureate, you know, the term Nobel in the mind of research, in the mind of the people, you know, rock star of science, like for more than 100 years, being a Nobel laureate is something. So now you have it. Does it change your life? Does it change your world? It makes you different? Any comment about that?
I have to say, Mohammed, that people told me that every scientist is dreaming about it. then I never did that.
Oh,
I never, what? I have to say that 40 years, I never get any awards, not even a grant to do my research. And this, it shouldn't be your goal to get award. It is because Stoic philosophy, it depends on other people, whether the Karolinska is voting for you or not. You have to focus on what you can do, and those are doing the research. And all of a sudden, prior to get the Nobel Prize, I in 3 years, in 21, 22, 23, I get 150 awards. You see some of them behind me. My husband made 3 cases, to just put somewhere, and even I gave some to the alma mater. All of a sudden, I get so many awards, and I couldn't even was embarrassed what I have to say until I realized, okay, the award is good that attention is on science and a scientist. And we rarely get that. All of these other celebrities are in the spotlight and not science and scientists. And I try to, advocate for that. Thanks to all of those people who came before us, try to inspire the next generation to tell them how fun and how great to be a scientist. So I try to find a role for that, getting the award. But for me, getting letter from an elderly home where they vaccinated the people and they survived, for me it is more meaningful than any award. Any award.
true, true, true. So, as you say, lots of there is the award, and there is the life and saving life, and I mean the triomphe de la science, so the science triumph. Then again, being like under the light now, do you think that science and scientists have a role in, how to say it in English, in helping our world, especially nowadays? I mean, for a better world.
Always,
Yes.
always.
And how, especially in your
Listen,
opinion? Yeah.
Ahmed, how we got here in the United States that they are so against science and
Yeah.
scientists.
Yeah.
How did we get it? Again, as a Stoic philosophy following, I see what we should do and realizing what we have not done, we did not educate the public. And the gap between what the average person knows about molecular biology and what we are doing is a huge. And we did not, I like to talk to another fellow scientist, not somebody try to explain that, the RNA has like 4 components, like the car has 4 wheels, and we change one of the wheels. That's my invention, or something. It is difficult for me, but we have to practice and try to find some analogy to help the average person to understand what is, because what they hate and what is against is what is unknown. They don't know something and they fear.
So
And it's not just about the vaccine right now.
this
You
is
know that 100 years ago they lobbied against the X-ray.
see,
Oh, you would say, what's wrong with X-ray? Because they presented to the average person that it will go through your clothes. And
mm,
if somebody has in their glasses,
yeah,
they can see you naked.
yes,
You
yes,
understand?
yeah.
And of course, always people are making money because in London they start to sell X-ray resistant underwears. So
Wow.
there are always people who misinformation and they are making money on it. As right today, you can buy, spike protein, intoxication material and things like that. So this is how it is. And what we could do, as you ask scientists, we should go out to the public. So I have been in the local library. In Hungary, I will go again in a library. Everybody can come and any question I will take.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's important for all of our scientists. And you have to ask, if you can explain to your grandmother what you are doing, then that's it.
Good.
You have to be able to do that.
Okay. So we have such a role, definitely
Yes.
such a role
Responsibility.
to educate audience, public, and this is our responsibility.
Mhm.
Okay. Wonderful. So I have also another question now regarding. I always asked my friend, collaborator, colleague, and Nobel Laureate like you. So you was in Europe again, and you are in America, and still you shifted from academia to industry. So what are the fundamental difference in the way of thinking between Europe and North America?
So I realized why in the United States, why advancing so well, because in the university, there is no research center. In Hungary, in Germany, there are research centers, and those research centers are not those are not the teachers. They are not educating the students,
Okay.
usually. In the United States, in the university has the best scientists. There is no research center really.
Okay.
And then they have ideas and immediately spin out, make a company and so on. And in Europe, the university, those teaching things who are not the best on the field, because they are in the research, and that's what I noticed, that this is a big difference. The other going to the industry was that, in academia, I was not successful because they are measuring how many papers I did not publish 100 papers. They measuring references, but because I had no grant, I did all of this experiment with my own hands. I put the germ on the thumb, cultured the bacteria. I did everything myself. So I couldn't do 400 papers, and that was the measure. And because I came from, who knows where is Hungary, a country, University of Szeged, we never heard about. I never had a famous supervisor. Somehow you became a nobody kind of, because you don't have somebody associated who is famous or well known. And that was important in academia. Now I go to the industry. Who cares? If you have the knowledge and you are doing things, that's important. And you collaborate so much with your colleagues who are next to you, because together we have to develop a product in the industry. In academia, you don't even start a project already. Who is the first author? Who is the last author? You are already fighting over that, and you are competing with each other. And here, who cares? There is no paper. We have to have a product. And whether somebody's formulation team or everybody try to do their best and work together. And that, for me, is the goal was more meaningful. We have to develop something helpful, and working together, I mean, it was so much better. Of course, this was a small company, when you could feel that if I do today something, it will be better tomorrow. Maybe it is a huge company, you feel like you are a little dust only or something, but you have to feel always, it is up to you how much knowledge you collect, what the team is doing, what other teams are doing. So it always depends on you. What is your decision, and you know how much effort you put, and with the colleague work together. And I never been a boss, I always was colleague, and I enabled my team, my colleagues to do the work.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, very inspiring, really. I mean, the fact that I asked this question several times to people that worked in Europe and America. Myself, I was in France, in Italy, Germany, and Sweden before going back to Tunisia. And of course, there is difference between North and South Europe, and also North Africa. But the fact that you highlighted that research centers are so different to university, it's the first time I heard about that. So it's always the question of North America. We have to go right to the point, and we have to experiment first. And then, so this is what I heard. So we have to experiment to confirm the thing. But in Europe, we are more in theory than confirm the theory. While men in North America have to do the experimentation and try to adapt it to the theory.
Well, I would also mention another thing, that when here you file a patent, you have immediately you understand it is money.
See.
money has to spend on filing patent, and nobody will walk into the university that, oh, pseudouridine, that's so wonderful. So it is important you make a company. We did immediately, we made a company because we are the one who discover something, believe the most, and advancing it, try, go after the money, apply for grant, for small business grant. In Europe, 84% of the patent never used,
Yeah,
because then it is waste.
yeah,
You know, you have to, if you discover something, and then for that one, you need a teacher at the university who has some experience, who has connection. We need some seed money, and he will be like an advisor. So you have to build this kind of environment,
mhm,
which is missing in Europe. Oh, they come to me and say, oh, we have an idea, biotech. Those companies like Ugur, Zahin at the BioNTech, he has hundreds and millions of ideas. They don't need your idea. You have to pursue yours.
yes,
That it is hard for them to understand because they can see how important, why they are not interested. You have to pursue.
true.
And so that's what is not there. And every time last year gave lectures on innovation, what you have to do. You have to leave your comfort zone and leave that university position, go and risk and work day and night for this, your little company. And that's, difficult for the people to do.
Wonderful. So to finish this first part of the session, I have two questions. Well,
Okay.
one question and general. So very personal way. Why you accepted my invitation, Katalin Kariko?
Your invitation?
Yes.
Oh, I work safe, and he is from Tunisia. I work at BioNTech, and that's one. I told him also that I
Okay.
was invited and I accepted, and so you have to understand that every minute I can be different corner of the world, and I could get a lot of money for just online.
See,
I
see,
don't
see,
care.
see, see,
I
see.
don't care. I don't care about that. I care about, those who, like I was behind the Iron Curtain, and
Mm,
I valued when, at that time it was the 70s, 80s, that somebody sent a reprint because we couldn't read that journal. So I always felt that, okay, fellow scientists are thinking about me and helping. And so that's my responsibility also today. Also, the fellow scientists who might, less resources they have, they should have, some help.
help.
And that's what I got. And then I try to give it back. And so I have to say that I will have next week or Brazil and different corner of the world, they ask, and I said, okay, okay.
Thank you very much. It's really amazing that you accepted and very, I truly, because we have a lot of registered people, students and young researchers from
Mhm.
Tunisia, from Morocco, from Algeria,
Uh-huh.
North Africa, and even in South Africa, Nigeria, and Pakistan, all this region that maybe miss in a way, because if I compare my own experience still, so when I was in Europe for 15 years and now in Tunisia, so we have less chance in a way to meet people and even I mean to for publication or for grant etc. We have less change
Mhm.
we have less change.
Yeah.
So this is very helpful for us, and
Yeah.
for young researchers. So again, thank you very much. And the last maybe question is, what do you recommend for youth and for young generation of scientists in North Africa or from North Africa?
If they have a chance to go abroad and get the experience, I would tell them to go. I have to say that not only that you will learn about another culture, meet other scientists, meeting that how they think, you learn more about yourself
So
because you realize that, oh my God, I was not aware I can do that. I mean, coming to America, I was like, putting in the deep water and immediately have to try to swim, learn to swim
yeah,
and everything. And I discovered more about myself. Oh, I am able to do things. So that's what I tell them, that not only for the other culture, but about themselves, that they discover that, and they don't have to think a second that they are anyway less than others. So that's, the self belief, the confidence, not, but the confidence has to be that the knowledge is there, and that's important. And I always say the young one, listen, this morning, 5 o'clock, I already went to the swimming pool. Mental and physical health above all. You have to learn how to handle stress. You have to, every day, you have to exercise something, because physically you have to be fit and strong. And then you can tackle all of the problems. So that's, I tell them, and believing in themselves. They are not less than anybody else. My daughter, who is, happened to be an Olympic champion, but when at the beginning, she was, drawing and competing against somebody else, that she said, oh, my mom, but, this is a world champion and that and that, I said, yeah, but, she came to the world the same way that you, a mother gave birth to her. So then don't worry, you can beat that person and so on. So that's what. And also the women, I try to encourage them, because, I have my daughter and I didn't have to choose between career and staying home. But for that one, the government is important, because we had affordable, high quality childcare in Hungary when my daughter was born. And so, if the government is listening, I don't know right now, but if they would listen, please help. Not just for the scientists, for every mother, it would be a help. Then they can choose. They still decide to stay home or decide to pursue their career. And that's what.
Good, good, wonderful. You have a wonderful energy, Katalin Kariko. Really wonderful energy. I feel myself happier.
Oh, good, good, good.
Feel myself happier. Okay, so again, thank you very much for accepting our invitation for this science and philosophy session. It will be the fifth season. So I started with you. And for the people who are following us, thank you very much. See you soon. Merci beaucoup.